Can you hear already? Boleh dengar? Okay. So for today, we will look into the chapter 9. I think, let me see. Okay, we left with two more slides actually, two more lectures, sorry. The evaluation, this is actually additional under the evaluation chapter 8. And then we are looking into the special topic, okay, under the evaluation, which is the expert analysis. So for this one, and then after that, we will have the usability measurement and also the ergonomic health and safety. So maybe hopefully by today, I can at least cover for the chapter 9 and chapter 10. So by next week, okay, for the whole week, we will do the presentation. Okay, maybe presentation on our lecture, or maybe in our tutorial, or maybe in the presentation. Sorry, in the practical. But that one later. For sure, we need to do the presentation by next week, because by next week I need to submit the assessment mark already. So I need you to submit on time, okay, for your presentation about your project, your assignment actually. Okay, so before we start, can you three turn on the camera for a while? Let me see. Noel. Okay, thank you, Kelvin and Farah. Okay, Noel, thank you. So for today, quite long for the lecture, because maybe I will cover for two chapter 9 and chapter 10. And then there will be, instead of me doing the full lecture, okay, I will add, I think in the middle letter, okay, around 30 minutes for a video. The video is actually from our reference, our material, in the ebook actually. Okay, they give the link so that the student can go for the video referencing regarding to the expert analysis. Okay, this one I think around 28 saja. Okay, 28 slide only. So we try to make it, let's see. Right, so the first one is regarding to the evaluation. So under the evaluation, we have evaluation types. This one we have looked before. We have the formative, and we also have in summative. And then to do the evaluation, we have the method that we are using. Either we go for the expert analysis, or with the user participation. Under the participation, okay, we have learned through the either, okay, the evaluation can be done through the laboratory study, or the control study, or from the public one, from the field study. And then when going for the evaluation through the user participation, okay, we have discussed also that there are few techniques for collecting the data. Okay, we can get the data or gathering the data through think aloud, theory, and experimental, and also a few way actually. Okay, we can do a survey also. Okay, that's the technique that we used before. We have learned before. And then for today, we will look actually more depth, okay, into the expert analysis. So what is the expert analysis? This actually we have discussed, we have talked, we have look into our slide before this. Okay, expert analysis usually will be done in one or two individual. Okay, so let's see what is mean in the expert analysis actually. First, we go through to the slide. Right, the first one, expert analysis. Expert review or expert analysis is fast and inexpensive. Okay, because first, no well-equipped lab. This one we don't require the well-equipped lab. Okay, usually the formal lab or the well-equipped lab will be quite hosting actually, okay, where we have to put maybe a lot of prototype and then a lot of other machine, okay, to support the testing. Okay, it does not require the involvement of user. Okay, maybe it will require only the observer, and then the observer maybe around one or two. We are not looking for public user, a large number of user. Okay, the basic intention is actually to identify any area that are likely to cause difficulty. So in here, the expert analysis actually, okay, we are not looking into the general one. Okay, we are looking into a specific, not problem actually. We are looking into the specific condition, okay, where we can identify, okay, maybe in any area, okay, that there might be a problem. So we already try to focus on that area. So this is the way that we are doing for the expert analysis. Can be used at any stage in the development process, from a design specification through storyboard and prototype to the full implementation. So from the basic one, from the design, and then maybe you have your storyboard, and then after from the storyboard you go for the prototype, and then okay, in the prototype maybe you want to have some evaluation, okay, from the expert analysis. No problem, you can do that one, because expert analysis not require so much cost. So you can call the expert actually to evaluate your prototype, or even to evaluate your storyboard. Okay, and then if you think that you are already going to the full implementation, and then yet not prepared to going to the public, okay, means going to the selling the product. Okay, maybe at this stage, for the quality purpose, you can ask for the expert analysis, maybe for the final analysis, maybe for the final evaluation before going for the selling production, for example. Okay, means in the full implementation, actually the product, the prototype, okay, the design, the application, okay, in 99% ready to be launched actually. Okay, you have all the button function, you have the interface have been designed carefully. Okay, it can be linked from one button to another button, for example. So this is what we call the full implementation. Okay, and then maybe you can get some feedback, some evaluation from the expert analysis. And to get the expert analysis, it's not only you can get from one person or from one particular people, for example. Okay, maybe you can get the expert evaluation, the expert analysis from other company, and then maybe you can get actually from your colleague. Okay, get some maybe three or two expert analysis, expert evaluation to the prototype, to the design. Okay, so that maybe they can give some valuable feedback to our product okay, before going to the final launching of the product, for example. Okay, so in here, however, okay, they do not assess, okay, in expert review or expert analysis, okay, they do not assess actual use of the system, okay, only whether or not a system uphold accepted usability principle. Okay, in here the expert will not asking or will not looking on how is actually what is actually for example, maybe you are creating for the web application. Okay, they are not looking into the specific button and then that specific button is function or not. No, okay, they will not asking for that one or they are not looking for that one. Okay, they are looking into a specific general one but specific into a certain area that might cause a difficulty. Okay, they are not going to the actual use of the system. Okay, and then from the expert review or expert analysis, okay, this one actually they will use the two general technique either by using the cognitive walkthrough or from the heuristic evaluation. So the heuristic evaluation, later we will discuss more about that one, even though that actually we already have some activity with the heuristic evaluation before this. Let's look into the cognitive walkthrough first. Okay, the cognitive walkthrough was developed by Watson in early 90, initially designed to evaluate a walk-up and use system, okay, such as the ATM and also the museum interactive exhibition, where we can, okay, the user can have the interaction between the program, between the application. Okay, usually the interaction is one to one. Okay, you sometimes you need maybe, for example, like you are going to the museum and then you want to get some information. Okay, you just click the button and then they will have a sound, or maybe they will pop up a message, okay, in the screen. Okay, and then that is the interactive information actually you can get. Okay, that is the example. If you go to the museum, okay, and then the ATMs quite easy. They will ask you your PIN number, what transaction that you want to do, withdrawal, or maybe you want to do some transferring. So this is actually a one-to-one communicate, not communication, is a one-to-one interactive communication actually between the user and the application actually. Okay, it is a usability evaluation method, okay, in which one or more evaluator walk through a series of tasks and ask a set of questions from the perspective of the user. So this is what we will do in the cognitive walkthrough. Okay, the main function, the main focus, okay, of the cognitive walkthrough is to establish how easy a system is to learn. Actually, this is under the learnability. Okay, how can actually the user, okay, especially if we think that we are in the museum, okay, designing or developing for the interactive exhibition software or application maybe, and then we want to make sure that the visitor or the pengunjung, okay, the visitor who come to the museum, okay, when they are using the interactive system, or maybe there are software or maybe there are screen there, okay, when they are using that one, it's interactive and easy to use. Okay, by looking into the system, we already know that this is the button that we need to use if we want to have the information. Not that you need to read a long step by step before you can get the information. Okay, we want that the system, the application, when the user look into that one, the software, okay, basically, okay, at the first sight, they already know what to do with the system. This is actually the main goal in the cognitive walkthrough assessment or evaluation. Okay, we want to establish how easy a system is to learn. We want to see that one actually. What is the difficulty to the user, okay, to the visitor, if this is the case in the museum, when they are using the system. Okay, maybe it's not a second or maybe less than 2 seconds, they already know this is the button. This is to push, okay, to select, and then they will get the information. So imagine that one. Okay, you are going to maybe to the shopping mall, and then maybe you are we you maybe dependkan cerita, we make it a short. Maybe you lost in the shopping mall, and then where you want to get the information, usually you will look into the screen information. Okay, and then from the screen information, okay, hopefully from there you will know that where are you at this stage, okay, at the moment. Okay, maybe you are in the level 4, okay, and then in the section B, okay, maybe in the section B, and then at the B2B, for example, your place right now. So you will know that from that screen information, okay, they can provide you the information exactly that what you want. Okay, we want to make sure, okay, the system is easy to learn. Okay, learnability. Expert is expected to think and act like the user in trying to use the system for the first time. Okay, for the first sight, okay, we already want to know that this system is easy to use. Okay, that is our goal when we are going to do the expert analysis in here. Okay, because the expert don't want to think too much actually, because there are a lot of program out there may be similar to your program. Okay, so when you are dealing with the expert review or expert analysis, okay, so make sure that the first impression got the attention. Okay, maybe use in conjunction with the think aloud technique. Okay, this one is another usability evaluation method where experts express their thought while executing a set of tasks. Okay, remember there is a machine in the factory, and then the user or the yes, the user trying to use the machine, and they will speak loud so that they can give the instruction to the user actually. Okay, in this way the cognitive walkthrough can find the most several usability problems and desirable new features and functionality. While Think Aloud have find all types of usability problem. Okay, Think Aloud usually the concept is too big. For the cognitive walkthrough, usually we will go to the specific. Okay, specific, maybe we are looking into the new features, for example, new functionality. Okay, and then maybe we want to see that if the system, or maybe if the apps is easy to use. So this is what we will look into the expert analysis through the walkthrough. This one. Okay, cognitive walkthrough. So the next one, okay, is when we are going to do the walkthrough, okay, you need a few things. First, okay, maybe this is your prototype. So we have the prototype. Okay, we have the design and we have the prototype, an indication of who are the user and what kind of experience and knowledge they have. Okay, so we give the expert analysis, or if we are the expert analysis, okay, expert reviewer for this one. So we need to think about that one. Okay, who is the user? Who will use these apps? Okay, what is the target? Who is the target? Okay, which area, or maybe a certain uh, uh, range of age will use this one, these apps. Okay, so if the range of age is from teenager, for example, so we need to look into their experience and then the knowledge about the maybe looking into the existing product. Okay, maybe the similar product that we have, okay, in the market. So that is the consideration that we have to think before going for the walkthrough. A description of the task the user is to perform on the system or to the prototype. Okay, I think this one's quite easy lah. Okay, you just make sure that there is a task that need to be do so that it can give a guideline to the expert reviewer, the expert analysis. Okay, and then actually this is the recommendation actually, okay, where we can put a few tasks for the cognitive walkthrough. Okay, for example, like this one, task one, new user experience. So maybe in here, okay, you give some feedback. Okay, is the effect of the current action the same as the user goal? So maybe you can ask or you can have the answer Y or N, yes or no. Okay, is the action visible? Will user recognize action as the right one? Will user understand feedback? So there are a lot of maybe task one. Okay, and then maybe we can divide it into a few sections. Okay, for example, like basic info, contact info, login information, and communication preference. So that is the example. Okay, you don't have to follow because this is the question in here actually will depend with your design, with your prototype. Okay, cannot be the same. Okay, for example, like login information and communication preference. Okay, maybe you are doing designing some kind of website. Okay, website for let me see, maybe website for like I still remember Noel project, which is the apps for activity, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, and then Kelvin is for the I forget about Kelvin project, the assignment. I think movie. Okay, movie booking. Okay, movie apps. Yeah, sorry. And then I'm still waiting for Farah. Farah, your project, your assignment. Okay, so in here you will look at actually login information. If we compare with the application, okay, for apps or maybe some let me see. Okay, the interactive information in the museum, for sure it will different from your application. Okay, maybe in the museum, okay, the apps don't need the email address, don't need the password. Okay, maybe from your site, maybe it's possible to have. So different apps, different software, okay, might have different tasks in here. Okay, so you need to see uh, uh, the way that it can align, okay, with your project, okay, with your when you develop the project actually. Okay, and then this is where we can have some details actually. Okay, for each task walkthrough, consider Okay, is the effect of the action the same as the goal at the point? So this is actually depend with the task in here. Okay, will the user try and achieve the right outcome? A level of knowledge or experience. So we need to see, okay, before maybe they have used existing or maybe the existing software in the market. Okay, so you can compare that one. Okay, for example, the action is to save a document, is saving a document, what the user want to do actually. So in here the evaluator think from the user perspective. Okay, even though that maybe the evaluator or the expert reviewer is quite old, but they will put their issues into the target audience or the target user. Okay, if the apps that is actually for teenager or maybe for adult, for example, even though that the evaluator is quite we can say that orang tua, but they still can actually put their situation into that thinking of way actually, either the teenager or maybe the adult one. Okay, and then will a user see the action is available. For example, where a remote control has a cover panel of buttons or where a menu item is hidden away in submenu. Okay, whether it is visible to the user at the time when they will need to use it. So this is actually again related with the task. Okay, once user have found the correct action, will they know is the one they need? Okay, for example, okay, if they make some mistake before this when they are using your software, your application, for example, and then after that, okay, is there any way that they can actually doing the right thing, the correct action? Okay, so will they know is the one they need? Okay, maybe if they cannot looking into the answer in your apps, can they look into the FAQ, for example, or maybe they can use the help button, for example. Okay, associate the correct action with the outcome they expect to achieve. Okay, the previous question was about the visibility of the action. This is one is about whenever whether it is meaning and effect is clear. Okay, sometimes maybe we use poor label language or jargon, okay, in our apps. Okay, for maybe for the adult quite acceptable, but we need to consider that even our target is maybe student, okay, for example, but sometimes maybe outsider from this age, okay, they also can maybe want to use or maybe need to try. So make sure that is quite general when using the label or the language. Okay, especially the jargon one. Okay, avoid to use jargon one. Okay, and then complex section. Okay, usually this one for teenager should be no problem to use the alternate control key. But for the senior one, okay, or for the kids, okay, the alternate key, alternate control, and then plus some special key, for sure they will lose. So avoid from this thing. So this is actually we can process and can do the evaluation, okay, to see if there is a way that we try to make sure, okay, on using your prototype, on using your system, it become easy actually. So that is the target when we are doing the cognitive walkthrough. Not only cognitive walkthrough, but all the evaluation actually. Okay, so after the action is taken, will user understand the feedback they get in order to determine if they have accomplished their goal? A user need appropriate feedback. Okay, usually all this software or the apps, okay, we will have some feedback. Okay, easy to miss, too brief, poorly worded, inappropriate, or ambiguous. So this one, you try to get some feedback from the evaluator, for example, because like I have mentioned before this, the evaluator will put their situation on the user situation. Okay, they will try to understand your target actually. Okay, the walkthrough does not test real user on the system. Okay, with the walkthrough, you can potentially evaluate the interface by imagining the behavior of the user persona. I think this one you already cover in the chapter 3 or chapter 4. Okay, the persona. Okay, we try to imagine actually, okay, to put our scenario, our situation in their scenario so that we can get the feeling, even though that maybe it's not 100%, it's not maybe the same, but at least, okay, we try to understand the situation. Okay, so before we go to the heuristic evaluation, I think we take 10-minute breaks dulu, sebab macam yang saya cakap tadi, it will be quite a long theory for the yeah, expert analysis. Okay, this one saya sudah terangkan sebelumnya. Actually, I have discussed with you all the heuristic evaluation, but because it's under our slide, so I will go through this one. Okay, we take I think around 10 minute to 13-minute break. Okay, we come back around the 3:15, guys. Okay, we continue the theory part 3:15. I think I forget to add the PDF into our Google Classroom. So I put the material first. Week 12, chapter 09, evaluation, expert analysis. Okay, you also can get the slide from the GC, guys. Okay, let's continue with the our slide. Okay, so the next one is heuristic evaluation. So this one proposed by Nielsen and Molik is actually from Nielsen. Okay, and then established by 1994. Heuristic evaluation involves having a small set of evaluator examine the interface and judge its compliance with recognized usability principle. Later after this, I will give you some example, and then from that example, okay, I need you to do actually under our lecture today. Okay, and then by let's see, by tomorrow under the tutorial, okay, we can do the you can present actually the evaluation, the heuristic evaluation. Okay, you just follow the example that I give you later. Okay, useful for evaluating early design. Okay, but it can also be used on a prototype, storyboard, or fully functioning system. So the heuristic evaluation that we will do later, okay, in maybe in the last 40 minutes, okay, we will do on the fully functioning system. Okay, the system that actually you are quite familiar. Okay, the system depend with you. I will give you the sample later, the example. Okay, maybe you want to use the example also can, or maybe you want to choose another one, no problem. Okay, so the next one, let's see. The general idea behind heuristic evaluation is actually that several evaluators independently critique a system to come up with a potential usability problems. Okay, Nielsen recommend the use of these 10, okay, as providing the most effective coverage of the most usability problem. Okay, so the project that we will do later, okay, a small project actually. It will, I think, maybe will take you around 40 minutes to 60 minutes to complete actually. Okay, and then we will use the Nielsen recommendation. Okay, beside Nelson and Molik, other principle can be used in heuristic evaluation. Okay, we have the 8 golden rules by Ben Schneedeman. That one, we just focus to the Nielsen and Molik. So for the Nelson T heuristic, first, we have the visibility of system status. Second, match between system and the real world. Three, user control and freedom, consistency and standard. Number four, number five, error prevention. Six, recognition rather than recall, flexibility and efficiency of use. Aesthetic and minimalist design. Help user recognize, diagnose, and recover from error. Help and documentation. So they will give you example in here for each of the heuristic, okay, from Nielsen. So for example, like the number one, visibility of system hit status. Okay, the system should keep the user informed about what is going on through the apps. Okay, maybe we can see from the progress bar or maybe from the confirmation message. Okay, if you use like Google document or Google Drive, okay, you always can look from this one. There is a confirmation or they will have the progression bar, okay, to give the information to the user that actually on how level or maybe what percentage that the system trying to upload or maybe downloading the file. Okay, this is the the the, uh, the way that we want to try to inform to the user. And also from WhatsApp. Okay, from WhatsApp you always look this one, blue tick, and then what is the tick, the gray tick, single tick. Okay, so this is actually it's a common understanding, and the way that the WhatsApp actually providing us the information. Okay, either that message has been seen only or not read or maybe have been read. Okay, no reply doesn't count. Okay, that one not counting in this one. So this is the way that actually the WhatsApp giving the information kepada, okay, to the user actually. Number two, match between system and a real world. The system should speak the user language, okay, with words, phrase, and a concept familiar to the user, okay, rather than system-oriented terms. Okay, follow the real world convention, making information appear in a natural and logic order. Okay, usually when you go to the shopping online, for example, okay, this is the arrangement that the website always do. So if you think that you want to follow the trend, okay, follow the trend. Okay, if you think that you want to have the button, maybe you put somewhere else. Okay, if the user are not familiar and do not like your design, okay, maybe at that time, okay, you need to redesign your apps because usually the user will follow the natural, okay, the way that they are always being in the order. Okay, they don't like to see maybe the new the way of the new look of the design, maybe see quite uh, 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 advanced for them. Okay, so this one we need to consider. And also, okay, if you want to put the, for example, like the banner, okay, make sure that the banner, okay, the user understand and is actually the we are using the general terms or the general words, not that the words that you are using you put in this banner, in the sticker, you are the only one that understand. Okay, we don't want to have the situation like that one. Okay, we want the message can be delivered, can be understand by the user. Number three, user control and freedom. The user often choose system function by mistake and will need a clearly marked emergency exit, okay, to leave the unwanted state without having to go through an extended dialogue. Okay, support undo and redo. So this one, if you familiar with the Microsoft Word, for example, Microsoft Excel, they always have the undo and redo. Okay, why? It's actually to make easy for the user. Okay, if they want to maybe jumping from one section to one section and then to delete a paragraph, either to delete it one by one, we can use the undo or redo. Okay, so they don't want to have a long system that actually going to one dialogue to another dialogue. Okay, go back button, undo button, remove from cut button, close window button. So this is the navigation button actually will help the user to make them feel easy. Okay, easy to using the apps, using your apps, using your software. Okay, so make sure this general button is available if you are producing or develop a system or apps. Okay, the general one. And then number 4, consistency and a standard. User should not have to wonder whether different words, situation, or action mean the same thing. Okay, so usually we will follow the platform convention. Okay, button name search versus find, and then maybe there will be a color. So this one, if you see from the Microsoft, they make it general. Okay, the color, and then the way that they will put the menu bar. Okay, it follow the convention, it follow the step, it follow their standard actually, so that when user use their product, okay, for example like Microsoft Word, okay, when they want to using the other product, for example Microsoft PowerPoint, they will try to make the user is actually familiarized with the system already, because the PowerPoint, the Word is actually under the same brand. So the designer, the UX designer from the Microsoft, they already think about that one. Okay, to make sure that the user will feel the same condition or situation when they are using various software, sub software in the Microsoft product. And then error prevention. Even better than good, error message is a careful design which prevent a problem from occurring in the first place. Okay, either eliminate error prone condition or check for them, and present user with a confirmation option before they commit to the action. Okay, usually if that one is involving sensitive information, okay, especially when maybe you are going to the online application, online software for example, and then you need to put the sensitive information, so make sure you have the confirmation option. Okay, you have confirmation option before the user will commit the action. Okay, displaying which field are mandatory form validation. So this one is to make sure that when we want to display the result at the end, okay, all the details, the necessary, not necessary, all the compulsory is being marked. Okay, cannot be left behind. Okay, so that is the meaning of the error prevention. Okay, so this one is the sample on the confirmation dialogues actually. Did you mean to attach the file? So it will ask you again. Okay, you wrote CMeta, and this is the example. Okay. And then we have number 6, recognition rather than recall. Okay, minimize the user memory load by making object, action, and option visible. Okay, the user should not have to remember information from one part of the dialogue to another. Okay, instruction for use of the system should be visible or easily retrievable whenever appropriate. Okay, when you use Google Chrome, for example, or maybe you use Edge, or you use Safari, they have the option when you go to the area, the field, okay, to look for the when you type, okay, they will give you some suggestion. Okay, this is what we call recognition. Okay, maybe you have searched that one before this, or maybe that one is actually being recognized as a popular search entry. So in the Google, they already put that one actually. So it make easy to the user, okay, not to remember too much actually. Okay, so that the user will feel that, okay, is good actually to use the Google Chrome, for example, because they give some recognition or maybe some selection, okay, selection of word that we can choose, okay, even to type the words that we want actually, okay. Flexibility and efficiency of use system can cater to both inexperienced and experienced user, allow user to tailor frequent action. This one usually we can use the shortcut key. Aesthetic and minimalist design. Dialogue should not contain information which is irrelevant or rarely needed. This one must be avoided, okay, because we don't want first we try to make sure that the apps is in the small size of application actually. Okay, for example, like when you are developing the APK program, for example, okay, the Android, okay, application, the APK, okay, so the file, okay, is possible it must be less than 1 MB, okay, because people will have a lot of different brand and a lot of different spec for their smartphone. Okay, people tend not to submit or to install the application that will require a lot of size of their storage actually. Okay. Number 9, help user recognize and recover from error. Okay, error message should be expressed in plain language. No code precisely indicate the problem and constructively suggest a solution. Okay, make sure that the red one in here, okay, the red one in here, it's not too long. Okay, and then maybe you want to give details of the information to rectify the problem. No, okay, give the user an easiest message. Okay, the plain language that easy to understand, so that they can do the they can rectify the error actually. Okay, for example, like that one. Please ensure all fields highlighted in red fill. Easy. So we will know that only the email that we need to do the correction, or maybe we need to putting again the information. So not from the telephone, not from the DOB, the date of birth, for example. So we give specify the problem, the error message to what particular of problem. Okay, in here. And then the last one, the number 10, help and documentation. Even though it is better if the system can be used without documentation, it may be necessary to provide help and documentation. Okay, information should be easy to search, focus on the user task, list concrete steps to be carried out, and not be too large. Okay, usually if you go to the website application or maybe in your apps, they give you the hover message. Okay, when you click under, for example, can you see my, let me see. Okay, can you see when I click at the bottom there? Okay, when I click this one from your side, maybe you cannot see, but actually they will give me a message. Okay, information message. Okay, previous, this one is for previous, and then this one, okay, menu, and then this one is next. So that is the information message dialog box. Okay, give us the information. Okay, and then maybe at this side you can put the tanda soal though. Okay, and then from here you click this one, and then they will give the details. Okay, so that is the way that we can do the navigation documentation to help actually. Okay, easy actually. So, to conducting a heuristic evaluation, there is a three stage involved. First, briefing, introduce the system or the prototype to the expert and tell them what to do. Second, evaluation. Okay, each expert will evaluate the system, the prototype independently. Okay, and then they will record their potential usability problem. Okay, maybe you have two or three expert design. Sorry, the expert analysis. Okay, and then they will do by their own, and then you can compile the result, and then see you can do the comparison also. Then we have the debriefing. Expert come together to discuss their funding. Okay, two, three, the expert will sit down together and then do their brainstorming, and then maybe they will discuss their funding. Oh, you see this problem? I'm not sure about this one, but I'm looking at this area. So when we have two or three experts, so the finding is actually will become more productive. Okay, prioritize the problems found, and of course we need to suggest the solution to their funding actually, their finding actually. Okay, quite easy. Three stage briefing, do briefing before doing the evaluation, and then do the evaluation, and then from the evaluation, after they are doing the evaluation, we will go for the debriefing. Right, so quite easy for the evaluation, heuristic evaluation actually. So let me see if I want to continue with the chapter. Let me see that one first. I have another one actually. Usability measurement. Okay, the usability measurement, I don't think we will cover for this one because the your assessment, your assignment is actually under the evaluation actually. So let me share. Okay, the thing that I want to share with you all. Let me see. All right. Before that, before I go to the okay, this one actually I have shared with you all before this. Let me see. I can share to you all. The UX, this one. I think I have shared with you all before this. Okay, the Nielsen Norman Group actually regarding to the UX expert review. Okay, you can go to here. This is more details. Okay, on actually what is the design review. Okay, the chapter that we discussed in our chapter 9 actually. Okay, the praise design review is a broad term that encompasses several methods of inspection. Okay, in each, the level of inspection varies depending on who is doing the review and review goals. Okay, common types of design review include heuristic evaluation and standalone design critique. Okay, so we are looking into the heuristic evaluation. Okay, expert review. Expert review usually expand on heuristic evaluation by assessing the design not only for compliance with heuristic but also against other non-usability guideline. Okay, principle of usability related fields such as the cognitive psychology and human computer interaction. The reviewer expertise and past experience in the field. Okay, the emphasis on the reviewer past experience and knowledge of usability principle is why this type of design review is often referred to as the expert review. Okay, usually there will be a written document, okay, the deliverable of the expert review. And then we also have, let me see, the component of the expert review. They have list of usability strength and list of usability problems. Okay, I'm not reading this one by one, guys, because it's quite long. Okay, I will give you the link later so that you can go to here. And then you can look, actually there are difference between expert review versus usability testing. Okay, so let's look into the expert review versus usability testing. Okay, the types of usability issues found in the expert review vary from those that will be uncovered during usability study, which is why combining these methods result in the best overall design. Can an expert review can identify minor issue that will be difficult to observe or measure in a small qualitative study. Inconsistency, okay, in font usage throughout the interface, the color that doesn't follow a brand guideline, or the use of center aligned text instead of left aligned. A larger issue that go against best design practice will also get caught in expert review. Okay, that one, expert review. For usability testing, okay, on the other hand, usability testing may uncover issue that an expert may not thought of. For example, because the real audience has very specific knowledge on needs. Okay, an expert review works well as part of the planning process for upcoming usability study on that design. Okay, evaluating the design, especially if it reflects on completely new strategy for your user experience, can identify area of concern to focus on the study and also catch obvious issue that should be fixed before usability testing. Okay, so that is the expert review versus the usability testing. And then this is the process actually, okay, from the initial idea until the high fidelity prototype. Okay, so expert review are a valuable method for uncovering usability issue, complementary to the usability testing. Okay, they are often performed by a person with expertise in usability and a principle of human behavior, and they result in a list of usability issue and strength, together with recommendation for fixing those issue. Okay, so that one you can get from the NN group actually. This article. And then the thing that I want to share, the most important one actually is, let me see, this one. Let me share with you all. Mm, Wendy. Okay, heuristic evaluation. This one. Okay, you can, let's see. Okay, you can go to this link later. Okay, let me add into our lecture today. Let me edit this one first. So I give the link 01. You can go for the, let me see, expert review. Alana. I share into the first, under the, you can check this one. Number 2, okay, and then number 3 is a video actually, guys. I'm putting it on our Google Classroom. Okay, I have updated the info in the Google Classroom. Okay, regarding to the week 12, you can go to the link 1 is about the heuristic evaluation, and link 2, okay, is actually, let me share my second screen lah supaya senang, guys. Okay, so this is my second screen. So you can look that from our GC under the week 12. Okay, I have posted the PDF also, and for the link. So we have 3 links. First, information about the heuristic evaluation. Okay, this one. I already shared with you all this one. Okay, we have discussed this one. And then this one. This is the thing that actually I want to have discussion with you all. Small project. Okay, look into this example or look into this sample. Okay, this is heuristic evaluation technique. Okay, this young girl, okay, Wendy Bravo, okay, she actually give the experience and then posting it into the website so that it can give you some idea on how to do the heuristic evaluation. Easy. Okay, this is the type that we are doing the heuristic evaluation under the fully usable application or software. Okay, let's see the this one scenario first. The Wendy Bravo, a heuristic evaluation of 2 travel website. Okay, I conducted a heuristic evaluation of 2 popular travel planning website, okay, Travelocity and Expedia. A heuristic evaluation is an inspection method in which you systematically apply heuristic qualitative guideline to find and explain problem. Okay, remember they have they choose 2. Okay, Travelocity and Expedia. I apply Jacob Nielsen heuristic, the 10 heuristic. Okay, my goal was to apply Nielsen heuristic to critique the user interface design of both websites by performing detailed heuristic evaluation. I like to share this evaluation as a way to illustrate how to apply this UX method. Okay, so the design brief. The task was to compare the process of buying a round trip ticket on 2 different websites. I could pick up, okay, I could pick any mode of transit I like, and I had to try purchasing a round trip ticket from my home city the following Saturday to any destination that I like. I had to start on the homepage and work my way through the task while keeping a list of the heuristic handy. And I discover usability problems with the site. I made sure to write them down and take a screenshot. Okay, remember, when Wendy doing the heuristic evaluation, okay, the Travelocity and Expedia is actually a fully functioning website. Okay, this is her evaluation using the Nelson heuristic technique. Okay, using this one, okay, to do the heuristic evaluation. Okay, again, the what is the name again? Travelocity and Expedia is a fully functioning website. So that is actually this one. Okay, I this one I this and I made sure and take a screenshot. Okay, once I had finalized the list of violation, I gave a severity rating to each. I used this severity rating scale. Now, your task letter you can just follow for this one. Okay, this is what we will discuss by tomorrow tutorial actually. Okay, so maybe if you just want to follow this one, okay, no problem. Okay, you can, or maybe you want to create your own rating scale, also okay, no problem. As long that you can explain or you can justify your rating. Okay, for Wendy, so 0 then agree that this is a usability problem, 1 cosmetic problem, maybe sikit-sikit saja, and then 2 minor usability problem, 3 major usability problem important to fix, and then 4 usability catastrophe. This is imperative to fix. Okay, I was to summarize the task I was trying to accomplish. Show a screenshot where the violation occur, list the heuristic violated, and describe the violation and its severity. So your task for tutorial tomorrow, because if I give you 30 minutes by tomorrow, it will not enough. Okay, so I give you the instruction by today. You can try looking into this website. Okay, try to understand on how is actually Wendy have done the heuristic evaluation so that you can do. Okay, if you think that you want to do to your apps, your own apps, no problem. Or if you want to do it on the other apps, okay, or other website, no problem. Can also. Okay, you just follow this guide from Wendy. Okay, so first, okay, in here, it's looking into the Expedia. Okay, from Expedia. Okay, so the task, what is the task? Okay, purchasing a round trip flight from San Francisco, California to Istanbul. This is the task. And then it will see the first issue, okay, or first violation. Okay, it was difficult to find out information about back fee. So this is the screenshot. Severity, this is the severity. So maybe you can put 3. And then what is the heuristic violated? Okay, recognition and help. Okay, from where you can get the heuristic is actually from here. And then you can make some simple description on why do you think that that is the problem. Okay, when I click on more info under back fee, another tab opens and show me this information. Okay, here it will have been helpful to see the following info highlighted instead of being part of the paragraph. Okay, if your trip include more than one airline baggage, a fee are generally determined by the first carrier on the ticket. Okay, so that is the explanation. I also wanted to have some other link where I can go check for more info since they say generally. Okay, and then you can read this one from your own lah. And then that is the first issue. And then they have second issue. Insufficient information regarding their flag rating system. So you can put the severity, you can put the heuristic, and then make sure you put the description. Okay, this could be fixed by adding more info link at the end of the description for user who want to find out more. Maybe in the description you can add the solution, or maybe you can add some idea on how to fix that problem, or maybe you can suggest your opinion. Okay, and then you can go to the third issue. If you think that you can have sampai 4, then go, no problem. And then you can go to sampai yang fifth issue or violation, go. A way to register on the site. For first-time user was not shown as one of the option at checkout. Now, remember in here, when you look into the fifth violation or issue, is actually Wendy tried to put herself, okay, as the user for the first time user. Okay, so that he can experience, he can imagine what is actually the user will feel when they go to this website. Okay, you need to see that how Wendy put her situation, okay, as a first time user. So this is actually the consideration that you might need to put some attention. Okay, and then you can go to the for Wendy, they go to the second one, the second website, Travelocity. So for your task, you don't have to look into two websites. Okay, we make it simple for the tutorial tomorrow, because by tomorrow we will go directly to the your presentation. Okay, about this one, you just follow this one, the heuristic evaluation. Okay, you just give me if you can give two, you better. Okay, you can make some comparison. Maybe you can do for your apps, or maybe you can do some, for example, like maybe you use Agoda, or if you don't want to use traveling, okay, maybe you can use let me see, banking cannot, because they will have some sensitive information, unless that you can hide. That one, it will give you more job actually. So it's up to you. But I give you the example. You can try online shopping website. Either you choose Lazada or you choose Shopee. Or if you think that you have another website like mudah.com, then you can go do the heuristic evaluation. Okay, and then plus maybe you want to add your heuristic evaluation about your own software, your apps. So by tomorrow, actually, I just need one. Okay, one is for the website. Okay, website online shopping lah, paling senang. Okay, we do for online shopping. Either you choose Lazada, you choose Shopee, or you choose mudah.com. Okay, mudah.com, mudah.my kan mudah.com. I'm not sure that one. Okay, so you choose either this website, okay, and then you do the heuristic evaluation. Just follow from this one. Okay, just follow from this one. And if possible, okay, actually you can add into your number two, you can add to your apps, actually your application. Okay, if you want, because actually later in the presentation I will ask you on when you are using the when you do the presentation. Okay, I will ask you if you are using the heuristic evaluation under your project, under your apps actually. So by doing this heuristic evaluation, either to the online system, the online shopping system, so that you can have the experience actually. Okay, once again, not either, sorry. Okay, first, you need to do the heuristic evaluation, either for Lazada, Shopee, or mudah.my. Okay, you pilihlah salah satu. Okay, and then two, that one is extra. Okay, you can do the evaluation, the heuristic evaluation for your own apps. Okay, for your own apps. Okay, maybe if you cukup masa, and then you can do two lah. Okay, if not, by tomorrow I just need you to present on the tutorial tomorrow for the heuristic evaluation. You just follow like what Wendy Bravo have done. Okay, they already have the example in here. Any question for this one? For our tutorial tomorrow?
Just using the presentation, right?
Okay, you just follow from this website. I already give the link into our what is that one? The in the Google Classroom. Okay. Okay, so any question for our lecture today, our topic today from the slide? Any question? Yes, enough already. One issue, okay, no problem. Okay, if you think that this one, okay, if you think that, don't give me one issue lah. Okay, give me, because it's only one website, right? Okay, but if you think you want to do two heuristic evaluation, okay, you can give me around at least three lah. Okay, at least three. Okay, if you are doing one one website only, and then maybe you can give me around four lah. Okay, at least four lah. Okay, at least four, and then should be good enough. Okay, but if you think that you go through Kelvin, you can go the online shopping. Okay, either you try do the heuristic evaluation for, let me see, Shopee, Lazada, or mudah.my. Okay, you can choose that one, this website. Either you can go to Shopee, Lazada, or mudah.my, online shopping. Okay, you do the heuristic evaluation for this website. Easy. This website is already fully functional. So we just want to look, okay, if you think that there is a improvement that we can do from this website. Okay, if you think that, and then you need to make sure, remember, you need to put yourself as a first time user to use this website. Okay, this website application, maybe you can try add some product to your cart. Okay, and then try to remove the item, and then see what happened. Okay, and then from there you can give the evaluation. Okay, so try to uh, to make some of the option in the online shopping, okay, available, and then test their functionality. I'm quite sure all the button, okay, at the website, for sure it will working, but is that button is acceptable, or maybe can have a good interactive information to the user, especially for the first time user. So this is, maybe you can choose when you are doing the heuristic evaluation. Okay, follow from this website, Wendy Bravo. Okay, so I think actually my lecture will already in habis sudah di hujung dia actually. So after this I will share the video. Saya akan pasang video until at the end of our class. Okay, because the video is actually required by the ebook actually. Okay, if you all have the ebook, okay, they ask actually you all to go for this video later, the one that I will share with you all. So after that 4:30, if you think that the video have finished, and then you can left or leave the Google Meet already. Okay, 4:30. The video is around 35 minutes. Yeah. Okay. So can you turn on the video first so that I can have we can take the your group photo. Turn on your video. Kelvin, Farah, and Noel. Okay, before I'm turning the video after this. Okay, I will see you all by tomorrow for the tutorial regarding to the heuristic evaluation. Okay, right. So just stay, watch the video. Okay, this is for your information and knowledge, and I will see you tomorrow by the tutorial class, guys. Thank you. 3 video, guys. I will play 3 video actually regarding to our topic today. You can turn off and then just watch the video.
The 10 Usability Heuristics by Jacob Nielsen. Visibility of system status, or what is going on. This principle states that the system should always by Jacob Nielsen. Visibility. The 10 Usability Heuristics by Jacob Nielsen. Visibility of system status, or what is going on. This principle states that the system should always keep the user informed about what is going on through appropriate feedback within reasonable time. For example, if we look at a desk lamp, we can turn it on or off. We know what is going on due to the light emitted. If there is light, the lamp is on. If it isn't, the lamp is off. Always make sure that your system communicates clearly and thoroughly with the user. Match between system and the real world, or what are you talking about? This principle states that the system should speak the user's language with words and concepts that are familiar to the user. For example, if we look at a children's book, the wording is simple, clear, and concise, so that it is understandable to young children. Children's books don't have long, wordy, complex, Dostoevsky-like diatribes about the meaning of life. They talk about a big red dog and its red ball, so children can understand and relate to what's being said. Always make sure your user can understand what your system is communicating to them. User control and freedom, or oops. This principle states that users often make mistakes and that they will need a clearly marked emergency exit to get back to where they really want to be as fast and as simply as possible. If we look at your everyday TV set and its remote control, there's always an emergency exit. There is the back to previous channel button, which takes you back to where you were in an instant. Always make sure that your system has a simple and efficient emergency exit to fix user error. Consistency and standards, or, oh, I know that. This principle states that users should not have to wonder whether different words or situations mean the same thing, and that you should therefore have a convention and continuity across your entire platform. If we look at public restrooms, we know which one is for men and which one is for women, because the symbols are a convention. Always make sure that your system has continuity and convention across your platform. Error prevention, or glad I didn't do that. This principle states that the best designs don't only have great error recovery, but prevent users from making those errors. If we look at a car dashboard, we have excellent error prevention. We don't want something to go wrong when we're driving at 80 miles an hour on the highway. A car dashboard clearly and efficiently informs the users of what will go wrong if nothing is altered or fixed. If your engine is about to overheat, you are warned in advance so you can address the problem in a timely fashion. Always make sure that your system has efficient error prevention. Recognition or recall, or wait, what was that already? This principle states that systems should minimize the user's memory load by making objects, actions, and options more visible. The user should not have to remember information, but should be helped with recognizing what he wants. If we look at the Google search tool, we now never have to recall entirely what we are searching, as there is a smart search that constantly attempts to help us recognize what it is we are looking for. Always make sure that your system prioritizes recognition over recall whenever appropriate. Flexibility and efficiency of use, or it doesn't matter if you're an expert or a newbie. This principle states your system should incorporate accelerators which are unseen to the novice user, but that allow the expert user to navigate faster with frequent actions. If we look at the Adobe CS Photoshop program, we can see that a novice user can navigate with the mouse and select the different tools, and an expert user can simply access the tools via the keyboard shortcuts, V for arrow, M for rectangle mark, F for view, Option plus or minus for zoom, etc. Therefore, accelerating repetitive tasks and making the usage more efficient for the expert user whilst not affecting the novice user experience. Always make sure that your system incorporates accelerators to facilitate expert users without affecting novice users. Aesthetic and minimalist design, or wow and whoa. This principle states that dialogues should not contain irrelevant information and that any extra unit of information competes with the already present relevant units of information and therefore diminishes visibility. The design needs to be minimal and therefore as efficient as possible, but also aesthetically beautiful. If we look at the Apple remote, we can first say, wow, this is a beautiful object. But after using it, we can then say, whoa, it's so simple and it works so well. Always make sure your system is aesthetically pleasant and efficiently composed. Help users recognize, diagnose, and recover from errors, or my bad. This principle states that error messages should be expressed in plain languages and precisely indicate the problem. If we look at a pencil, when the tip breaks, the user clearly understands what is wrong and what can be done. Always make sure that your system has good error recovery. Help and documentation, or now I get it. The principle states that even though the system can be used without documentation, it may be necessary to provide help and documentation. If we look at IKEA merchandise, in many instances we can assemble what we purchase without much difficulty, but there is always documentation in case we are in need of help. Therefore, always make sure that your system has appropriate documentation to help the user. These were the 10 usability principles by Jacob Nielsen. They will help you make your system more efficient and more usable. So use them wisely and stay usable. Thank you.
Every day you make decisions and judgments. Sometimes you're able to think about them carefully, but other times you make them on the fly using little information. This is where heuristics come in. Heuristics are straightforward rules of thumb that we develop based on our past experiences. They're cognitive tools that help us make quick decisions or judgments. Life would be exhausting if we had to deliberate over every one of the hundreds of choices we make every day. So instead, we use our heuristics as shortcuts to make judgments about the world around us. For example, rather than spending time deciding what to wear every day, you might have some default outfits. Or when faced with a lunch menu with too many options, you may opt for what you've enjoyed in the past. Heuristics aren't about making the perfect decision or judgment, just about making one quickly. Heuristics play a role in our reasoning about the broader world, too. As an example, consider the rate of violence in the world over the past century. Is the world more or less violent in the past 20 years than previously? Heuristic reasoning might lead us to think that the world is more violent today than it has been in the past. Every day, we're confronted with images of tragedy in the news and on social media. We might reasonably assume that the world is more violent today than ever before using what's called an availability heuristic. That is, examples of violence that are so readily available, we just naturally assume the world is more violent today. But in fact, the world is more peaceful today than ever before in human history. We may hear a lot about violent events, but in terms of raw numbers, fewer people die today at the hands of other human beings than ever before. So that heuristic about how violent the world is incorrect. In fact, a slew of other heuristics can easily lead us to mistaken conclusions. And it doesn't matter how smart or well-educated you are. Anyone can place too much trust in the mental shortcuts they use to make sense of the world. Take this example. Let's say a person tests positive for a rare disease, one that only 1 in 1,000 people have. What is the likelihood that he actually has the disease? Most of us would say the likelihood is very high based on the test results alone. But what if the results were inaccurate 10% of the time? If the false positive rate is 10%, a common number in medical tests, then it is highly unlikely our patient has the disease. In fact, based on the prevalence of the disease and the test result, we can be 99% sure he doesn't have the disease. This is because the odds of getting a false positive result, 1 in 10, are much higher than the odds of actually having the disease, 1 in 1,000. But in multiple studies, physicians routinely get this wrong, overestimating the likelihood that their patient actually has the disease. Psychologists call this the Representativeness Heuristic. People assume an individual case is more representative than it actually is. Our political views can especially suffer from an over-reliance on heuristics. Just consider how we deal with political issues. We'll often let our political identities, and our heuristics about how right we think they are, stand in lieu of important details and information we need to have an informed viewpoint. Because our heuristics can so easily lead us to faulty conclusions, it's important to be humble about our views. In light of our fallibility, we have to do something that doesn't come easy. We must recognize that the world is an uncertain place, and that our judgments about it are often wrong. We ought to listen to opinions we may initially consider wrong or even offensive. Our intuitions are useful, even necessary when it comes to making quick judgments about the world, but that doesn't mean they're correct. Recognizing the flawed nature of your thinking is a bold first step to challenging it.
Hi, today I want to talk about 10 usability heuristics by Jakob Nielsen. And those were created in 1994 by Danish usability expert Jakob Nielsen. So it's quite a long time ago, but they are still valid because they are heuristics. And what does it mean is that they are very high-level principles that you can apply to many things, but mostly for user interfaces. And they are very universal. You can also use it as a checklist to check if existing product is good or bad, like the usability is good or bad, and go one by one and see how the final results are. When creating new product, definitely you need to check every single item that it's basically done. So they talk about usability and how usability relates to user experience. So if a product is easy to use, the usability is good and the user experience is also good. So they are very closely related, but how exactly the relation looks like, so let's take a look. Okay, so we have user experience. And on what parts, what elements of product you can really assess a user, like measure the user experience. So for sure there is usability. So if usability is good, the user experience is also good. And what's more? Core element of any product is to provide some kind of value to users. If you want to buy tickets, this is the value that you get out of the product. So you can measure the user experience on the value that the product provides. If it provides a lot of value for the user experience is very high. So this is the same relation as usability. So we have value and usability, and we can also have interface. So basically, user goal is to get value from the product. And they can get this value using the interface. And while they are getting this value, we can also measure the usability. So value, usability, and interface. And we can have one more thing here, which is brand. So this is something that always present in any kind of product. Even if it has only a name, it's still a brand. So you have experience with a brand, good or bad. Those are elements that you can measure user experience on. And if we want to go a little bit into details, we can say that the interface, it might be like the graphic user interface or voice user interface. For usability, what matters is user flows and also information architecture. So basically, if user flows are optimized, the application, the product is easy to use, so usability is rising. If the information architecture is good, the users can find information quickly, and so the usability is also good and the user experience is good. Accessibility is also here because if, for example, the contrast is very low, users may have problems and they cannot find information, so the usability is getting worse. So those are just examples. There is more things here, but what's the most important is these elements that we can measure user experience on. So those are 10 usability heuristics that I grouped into 4 categories. So it's easy to remember them. And basically what does it mean is that the user interface should be familiar, should empower user, should be clear, and should avoid errors. And there are a couple of heuristics inside each of the groups, so let's go one by one. And the first one is the visibility of system status. And for that one, a good example is iPhone and the home screen when you basically have a lot of statuses. So first one is hour, then we have the signal strength, then Wi-Fi, then battery, day to day, number of messages, and also another clock. One more status, which is on the side, and this is a silent mode. So status is very useful for giving information for the user about what's going on. And this is very important information. I would say that this first heuristic is the most important one. Okay, the second one is match between system and the real world. And here a good example is when you are paying online, you basically need to fill all the data of your credit card. Yeah, the credit card is a real world and the interface is a virtual, like digital world. So this makes it very clear that there is a connection between the digital world and the real world. And the second example is any kind of online e-commerce platforms, shops, when you have a bag or a shopping cart. And those are things that you can only actually have in a physical store, not in the digital world. So calling it this way makes it very easy for users to understand how they work, because they resemble the real world. The next heuristic is number 6, and it's recognition rather than recall. So what's recognition, what's recall? Recognition is basically when you see a person on the street, you can see that you know this person or you don't know this person. And it's very easy and fast for your brain to process. And to recall is when you actually want to know what's the name of the person that you know. And this is more difficult and it takes more time to remember the exact name. So to make the interface easier, you have to use recognition rather than recall whenever it's possible. And the example you can see even in Sketch when you have open recent and you have the list of recent files. So you don't have to remember that yesterday you were working on this file that was in this folder that was in some place. Basically, you don't need to recall. You just see the name of the file and you just know instantly that you are searching for this file. And the second example for this is also in Sketch, and you can see the font list. So instead of remembering the exact name, you don't have to even remember the name. You just see the typeface and you know that this is the one that you are looking for. The next category is empowering users, and the first heuristic here is number 3, user control and freedom. And we can have 2 examples. The first one is the iPhone home button, which is basically a way of escaping the state that you don't know what's going on. And I think the purpose of this button was exactly this. So because now iPhones were innovative and new to people. So if they ever got into this state that they don't know what's going on, they can press home button and they go back home and everything is cleared for them and they can start over. And the second example is in Gmail, when after we send a message, we can even undo it. So it's very powerful and it gives a lot of control to the user, because most of the time if we send the message, then we start thinking about maybe something go wrong here. So we can view the message, we can undo the message, and yeah, we have a lot of freedom and a lot of control here. And the next heuristic here is number 7, flexibility and efficiency of use. And this is because there are many kinds of users, beginners, advanced users, and they all should be able to use the product efficiently. So a good example here is our keyboard shortcuts, and beginner users basically don't use them, and that's okay. Advanced users may use them if they want, and both users can use exactly the same interface, but in a different way. So yeah, that's flexibility. And next example is in Notion. So you can use shortcuts if you want, but if you don't want, you can just use the drop-downs to, for example, select a type of list, numbered list, bullet list, and so on. But if you are a power user, you can use the keyboard shortcuts and make it even faster to create any kind of list and other things also. And the last heuristic is number 10, help and documentation. So not every product needs documentation or help, because some products, especially those very simple, are easy to learn by intuition. You basically follow what you think this product is going to do, and it does exactly this. So you don't need any kind of help. But more complex product, like let's say Slack, they need some kind of help and documentation. So everything is there and users can learn how to use the product. Then they don't have to contact Slack and ask a lot of questions. So it's very convenient both for the user and for the product owners. Yeah, and also when you figure out most of the product functionality by yourself, by using intuition, you always have this question on the back of your mind that maybe there is some feature that I didn't discover and I just want to know everything that's possible. So I go to the documentation and read everything. And now I am clear, I know what's possible and what's not. And the next category is that the user interface should be clear for the users. And the first heuristic is number 4, which is consistency and standards. And we can see it very vividly in any kind of Google app which use material design. And if we take a look at Gmail, Google Calendar, or Google Maps, we can see that they are very consistent. If we know Gmail, we can start using Calendar right away, and everything is clear for us from the first interaction. Also, a good example are any kind of style guides or design systems that are very good at creating consistency and standards. So yeah, you should definitely use them if you want to have consistent product. And the second one here is number 8, which is aesthetics and minimalist design. And a very good example is the iOS control center, when everything is aligned to a grid and very clear. For example, on the volume control, you even don't have any kind of text because they are not necessary. You can understand very clearly that you are controlling the volume. So every information that is not necessary, not important, is just not here. And the aesthetics, the grid layout, even spacing and so on, they create this feeling that this is very clean and readable, and you can understand what's on the screen and what you can do with it. And the last category is the interface should avoid errors. And the first heuristic here is number 5, error prevention. And a good example is any kind of creating an account screens when you have to set up a password. And on a password field, you can possibly have a lot of errors, and it could be really pain to match all the criteria that are here for this field. Take a look at this example. We have 4 criteria that are showing you if they are matched or not while you type. So basically, you cannot create an error here. It's impossible to create an error. So yeah, that's a very good example. And the last heuristic is number 9, which is help users recognize, diagnose, and recover from errors. And a good example is Google Maps. When you basically type something that doesn't exist, and you have a couple of hints that can help you recover from this error. Maybe you just misspelled something, or place just don't exist on the Google Maps, but exist in the real world, so we can add this place. And yeah, basically this error is very easy to recover. So that's a good example. So that's all for this video. Let me know if you use 10 usability heuristics, if you find this helpful or not, what's your experience with it. And thanks for watching, and see you next time.
So in this video, I'm going to be talking about Jakob Nielsen's 10 heuristics for user interface design. And some of those words probably make no sense to you, but essentially if you're designing a product that people are going to interact with, so whether that's a website or an app, or even I think a lot of these principles would apply to physical objects as well. These are just basic rules that you can use as a sanity check to make sure that you're really being considerate about the people using the designs that you're creating, and giving those users the best possible experience they can get. So these heuristics were created by Jakob Nielsen, and this is the page on his website that lists all these different heuristics out. So I'll definitely link these in the description. So if you ever want to reference them by themselves, they'll all be there. But some of these are a little bit hard to understand what they mean if you just read the title and the very short description under them. So I'll go through these one by one and also give you some real world examples running through the Amazon website, showing how these work in practice. And although these might seem fairly standard and expected, no matter how long you've been designing products, it's always good to go back to the basics and really use this as a checklist to make sure you covered everything that you need to cover. So first up here is visibility of system status. So the description given by Jakob Nielsen is the system should always keep users informed about what is going on through appropriate feedback within reasonable time. So with this, it's important to keep in mind the idea of feedback. It's important to provide good feedback to actions users take. So some examples here are when you hover over a link and it underlines. It lets you know that that's a clickable link. It's a very small clue as to what to expect when doing something. Or if you're in Gmail and you mark a conversation as read or you delete it, a notification will typically pop up that allows you to undo that action. So that's just a really helpful thing, letting you know that an action has occurred, and also in that case, giving you a possibility to undo or correct that action if it was by mistake. And then there's general availability, and that's the system telling you if it's able to accept input. So if you're a Mac user, you're probably well familiar with the spinning wheel of death or the spinning beach ball that lets you know the system is thinking and can't currently act. That's the system's way of telling you, hey, I can't do anything right now, just hold on a little bit, to hopefully prevent you from doing a bunch of actions that you're unable to actually take. And also a really common one is something like an installation bar or a download percentage, just letting you know the expectations of time until the download or the action you're trying to do completes. So if we jump over to Amazon here, if I hover over these top navigation items, and they might be pretty small, but they're actively underlining, letting me know that these are likely clickable links. And it doesn't apply to everything here, but I hovered over these images, which brings up this little scroll bar. So that lets me know that I have an option to also scroll horizontally in case I didn't notice these arrows right here, which sometimes people can miss. So if you provide one or the other, they may or may not find them, but the combination of these two gives me a lot of feedback about what actions I can possibly take. And also as I scroll over items on this one, it brings up these quick look bars, letting me know that this is something that's clickable, and also there's a quick look option if I want that. And just in general, if you look at my mouse cursor, and this is a system example of this. So on the left here, when I move this around, you can tell that it's an arrow pointer, probably really small on your screen. But when I hover over something that turns into a clickable link, it becomes a hand icon, which lets me know that I'm able to click this, that there's further action to take. So there's tons of these little clues everywhere when you interact with designs. And when you really spend the time to make sure that you're using them appropriately and that the user has all the information that they need to complete the actions, it can actually make for a much better experience with relatively little effort. So next up here is match between system and real world. So the basic description there is the system should speak the user's language with words, phrases, and concepts familiar to the user rather than system-oriented terms. You want to follow real-world conventions, making information appear in a natural and logical order. So some basic examples of this: if you run into an error and that error gives you a message like path 2121 not found, that probably means nothing to you, as opposed to something that's much more helpful when you get an error message for an incorrect password and it informs you that you had an incorrect password or that there was no email on file for the email you listed. Using real words that people can actually understand and then take action on are almost always preferable to really detailed, more system-based warnings and messages. And some good examples of a good match between system and real world are concepts like shopping carts. People use the term shopping cart because pretty much everyone understands that's a place that you put products inside. So when you use a shopping cart or a shopping cart icon, people tend to know exactly what that is without any need of explanation, which saves that user's time and actually will probably make your design more efficient if you're running an e-commerce store. Or folder icons. So way back on Windows 95, for example, there were folder icons that allowed people to know like, hey, I can put stuff inside of this folder. Just little tiny clues to give people a better idea of what that particular thing is for if they've never seen it before. The recycling or trash bin on a Windows or Mac machine is the exact same idea. It lets you know that's a place where you throw things that you want to discard. Little clues that just help you save time in understanding things. So on an Amazon product like this, once this loads up here, there's add to cart with a little shopping cart icon as well as a buy now button. You'll also notice that in this case, I can't do this because I'm not signed in. So there's a little red cross mark letting me know I can't add this to cart and I can't buy it now, which is kind of interesting. It doesn't do this on all products, but it seems to be doing it on this particular one. Next up is user control and freedom. So users often choose system functions by mistake and will need a clearly marked emergency exit to leave the unwanted state without having to go through an extended dialogue. So to sum it up really simply, you want to support undo and redo. So give the ability to cancel a long download if someone clicks that by mistake, for example. If someone starts downloading a 30 gigabyte file and they don't actually want that file, there's no reason to make them complete that entire long process before they can exit out of it. Not only does it save you money when it comes to the cost of serving that download, but it saves that user a lot of time and they'll be much more happy for the ability to exit out. And then just basic undo and redo functionality. Anytime you make a mistake, you just want to fix that mistake as soon as possible. So users want the ability to do that, and therefore you should give it to them. So back to the Amazon example here, I'll try to go to a product that will let me actually add this to cart, which hopefully one of these memory cards will allow me to do. So I can go ahead and add this particular memory card to cart here, which will bring me to a page where I can then view my cart. So if I go to my cart and I decide I don't want this particular item, there's a delete button that lets me very easily remove it. There's also a quantity button. So if I accidentally put 5 in here by mistake, I can go ahead and, well, in this case, it gives me another warning saying there's a maximum of 2 of these per customer. But if I only want 1 instead of 2, it's very easy for me to go back, switch that to 1. So I don't have to waste a lot of time resetting up my cart. And then if I didn't want this altogether, I can go ahead and delete it, in which case it is removed. So this experience just helps me use this website a little bit quicker, a little bit more efficiently. For example, if I filled up my shopping cart with a bunch of stuff I didn't actually want and had no way of removing those items, that shopping cart would no longer be usable to me. It would basically be in a stuck state that I couldn't fix on my own, and I would therefore not be able to complete my purchase at Amazon, which doesn't help me, and it certainly doesn't help Jeff Bezos at Amazon. So consistency and standards is the next one. Users should not have to wonder whether different words, situations, or actions mean the same thing. Follow platform conventions. So for example, using the word save versus commit. You basically want to pick one or the other and then always use that language throughout your entire application. If you say save somewhere and then commit somewhere else, that might make the person be a little bit confused as to what the expectation of that action is. And with layout, you want to be consistent with how you lay out items in your designs. Follow patterns that make sense to the users. So with Google Sheets versus Google Docs, I'll just exit out of this presentation quick to show you this. The basic way this is laid out at the top here with this menu is consistent across all of Google's various platforms. So Google Sheets, Google Docs, in this case, Google Slides. So I always know that the file is going to be in the upper left-hand corner where my options will be there. Those options tend to be the same across all these different platforms. And although the top things might change contextually based on what I'm using, for example, Google Sheets will definitely have different options up here than Google Slides, I can at least know, generally speaking, where to look for the things that I need. And then for behavior, you want to make things that work in a way that matches the expectation of the user, or mental models. So a mental model is how someone perceives something should work before they actually ever use that particular thing. So if you design things that don't work in a way that the user expects,